Next up, we have a fireside chat with Desiree from Walmart being moderated by Susan, who's with Microsoft.
Hey, I'm Susan Etlinger.
Ooh.
This is Desi Gosby. We're going to go enterprise now. Thank you so much for joining. So, Desi has this incredible role at Walmart. I'm going to start with a little bit of context, right? Because I think we do need to go back up to the 50,000 foot level and just set some context. So, Walmart is an organization that, of course, everybody knows that has an extraordinary long reputation, and particularly around process. And at the same time, we find ourselves in this moment where, I don't know what you all think, but like I'm taking bets on how many times we all say vibe coding today. This is my one. I'm probably not going to say it again. But I do
I'm
want
not going to say it at all.
She's not going to say it at all either. Okay. So I want to start, Desi, with, given where you sit in the organization, you have seen a lot of change, both in the industry and also at Walmart. And so what does this moment mean to you?
Yeah, it's for Walmart and in general, it's a pretty significant moment. And we see this as a pretty big inflection point, very similar to the internet. And what we mean by that is really when we take a step back, it's as profound as in terms of how it is that we're actually going to operate, how it is that we actually do work. But the core principles around how we're going to apply this new moment really isn't going to change, but it is a significant inflection point, and it's permeating everything it is that we do. But at the end of the day, the way that we look at it is, we always start with our customers and our members and really understanding how it's going to impact them. We look at how it's going to impact our operations. We look at how it will impact how it is that we actually do development and what we call our ways of working. It's going to permeate all parts of what it is that we do. With that, we're looking at it in terms of how it is that we actually take what it is that, AI has always been part of our DNA as a company, but take this and how do we take the things that we do, to the next level. Walmart has always been what we call an EDLC, EDLP company, and what that means is that we are very focused on how it is that we drive everyday, low cost, so that we can provide everyday low prices for our customers, and that means that we have to be incredibly rigorous in terms of the process that we use across the board in terms of delivering product, to our customers that they love, and making sure that we are eliminating anything that's manual work, using automation wherever it is that we can, and delivering the best experience, removing friction, for our customers as part of that.
So, let's get a little specific on that. So let's talk maybe a little bit about some use cases, just to make it a little bit more direct. So what are some of the use cases, for example, that you started with? And then I'd love it if you could talk a little bit about some of the things that are more emerging right now.
Yeah, so let me put a little bit of framing on how we look at things a little bit more, and then I'll go specific into a couple of use cases. So when we look at how it is that we're looking at applying Gen AI and Agentic AI, we're moving into this world where we potentially have thousands of different use cases, and so we want to make sure that we are removing as much friction or removing as much cognitive burden for our users as possible. And so we think about it in sort of 4 different buckets. It's the customer and member, and how do we basically create an experience around that. And so specifically, we've been working on a shopping assistant called Sparky as part of that, and bringing our customers along on the journey for how it is they can start to use this sort of new class of AI to help them in their commerce experiences. We look at in a second bucket around our associates, specifically, our associates that might be working in the field, in the stores, in the distribution centers, how we can remove friction for them, as well as for our associates that are sort of in the home office, like our merchants. And there we've developed assistance for them to help them with decision making that they need in terms of the products that they might want to bring to bear. We have assistants that are helping our field associates in terms of what actions they need to take in the store so that they can be more efficient, and more productive, as they're working. And then we have sellers and suppliers, that we work with as well. And so, working with them on how to make it easier for them to do business with us. And then, of course, we've got developers, and really, giving them the superpowers and charging them up with the new agentic tools. And I'm not going to use that word, so word around that. We can talk about more specific examples, but we have hundreds, if not thousands, of different use cases across the company that we're bringing to life. And again, it comes down to looking at our different processes. Where is it that we've got things that are manual that now, if we bring more data, more intelligence to bear, we can start to remove that friction for our users, for our associates, and for our customers, and going from there. So.
Yeah, and clearly, so you've got multiple stakeholders, multiple personas that you're building for. Each of them, of course, has a set of expectations about what a process with Walmart should look like, right? Has looked like, should look like.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that area, that white space between sort of the expected and the new in a trustworthy way?
Yeah, I think it's just part of how it is that we work. From a customer perspective, trust is part of our value proposition, and we want to make sure that we're bringing our customers along for the journey. And the example that I often use is with I use my mom. She's a longtime Walmart customer, and I remember growing up going to the store and doing the weekly grocery shop at Walmart. If you take a step back, that really it's a very manual process. But she's also been interacting with AI, through that whole time. The fact that she was able to go to the store and get what it was that she wanted, it was on the shelf. AI was used to do that.
Can you kind of get into a little bit of where the AI actually, or like what it is and where it is in the process?
Yeah, it's in so many different places. Maybe if I talk a little bit about where we are to now, again, using the example of my mom, she COVID comes along. She can now get her groceries delivered with online pickup and delivery. That whole process of being able to go understand what the for us what the demand is, and doing demand prediction, figuring out what things need to be on the shelf, figuring out back from the DC what pallet to basically construct in a way that can actually go to the store, and that the people who are actually unloading the trucks actually know exactly what aisle to actually put things on. All of that is being driven by AI, and it shows up for our customers. And then as we move forward into this new world, and you're starting to do more things online. Everything from the site is personalized. Predicting what things she's going to buy, being able to do replenishment, and so we move into this new world where it is that we're going. When I ask her the question, instead of having to go and weekly figure out what groceries you need to have delivered, what if it just showed up for you automatically, because we actually understand everything about you, what things actually need to be replenished, and it just shows up at your doorstep, potentially delivered all the way into your home. And all of that is being driven by AI, Gen AI, Agentic AI. And she's like, yeah, there's no question there. And that's part of what I mean by bringing, to your question around bringing in this case, the customer along. If you're adding value to what it is that they're, to their lives, and in our case, helping them, to remove friction, helping them to save money and live better, which is part of our mission, and we, live up to that promise, then, the trust comes. And then from an associate perspective, if we're actually helping them to do their jobs better, faster, and more efficiently, bringing them along on the journey as well. They're making decisions, and then they get to the point where they trust it. That's part of how it is that we work, and we've seen that. Both of our associates and both our customers are coming along with us on the journey. So.
Yeah, and one of the areas that I think we wanted to talk about was a little bit deeper dive into inventory management. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so for inventory management, we look at that every single part of the process from the origin to how it gets to the store, to how it gets to your home and back. And every piece of that is driven by AI, whether it's really looking at our signals and understanding the demand prediction, to how it is that it's getting to the right warehouses, to how it is that we then use that to construct, as I said, the pallets, to getting into the store, to figuring out where in the store the demand is, and then and getting the products on the shelves. One of the things that we're starting to do differently, in this sort of new world when it comes to inventory management, is starting to really take a look at regional signals and trends that are out there. And we have something called trend to product, and that's really helping us, especially in the fashion space, to really take a look at social media signals that we're actually getting from our customers to not only create new products, but to create them and understand them and do that really, really fast and get those and get the products that our customers want and love, online into the store as quickly as possible. All that's being driven by AI, driven by Gen AI and all the new techniques that are out there. And that's just one case where we're starting to use that in terms of identifying the right products and creating the right products, for our customers, and doing that and reducing the cycle for that. Trend to product has gotten us down from months to weeks, to getting the right products, to our customers, and we're going to be able to apply that to multiple areas as part of our inventory management flow moving forward. But that's just one example.
Sure, sure. And so on the agent side, like what's the state of the art in terms of where you're using agents and then the orchestration part of the agents, which is, of course, a whole different.
Yeah, I think again, Walmart is a huge enterprise. We have a very large, set of services already, and so the way that we think about it is we have a lot of the different building blocks for the types of different flows, that we want to enable, for our customers and for our associates. And so the way that we look at agents is how do we put the right capabilities in place around our services and exposing it, with the right sets of experiences so that they can take advantage of those things. And so, I'm sure we've already talked about when we'll be talking about, we break down our domains and really looking at, how do we wrap those things as MCP with the MCP protocol, and then exposing those things so that we can then start to orchestrate different agents and using things like A to A. So we're looking very much at standardization, as part of how it is that we're looking to take our existing infrastructure, break it down, and then recompose it into the agents that we want to be able to build. So the other piece that we're really looking at is, we have a lot of structured data today, whether it's our catalog, for example, but we now can bring a lot of unstructured data as well. And how is that we expose that so that we bring that intelligence to help with answering the questions for our customers or orchestrating these different flows, predicting what it is that they want to be able to do moving forward. So for us, it's creating assistance, and then going along that journey, then figuring out once we build that trust, what is it that we can just sort of fully automate. And going from there. So it permeates all parts of what it is that we do. And in the future, what you should expect is, yes, we're going to automate, your grocery delivery, as much as possible, and with your permission, be able to do that while we're on our way on our journey for that.
Great. So quick follow-up on this. So some of the unstructured signals are probably fairly obvious. Are there any other unstructured data sets or signals that you're?
Yeah, so I think the way that we talk about how we what we want to do is we have thousands of merchants who are excellent what they do. They are experts in the categories that they support. We have a cheese merchant who knows exactly what wine goes with what cheese pairing, but that data isn't necessarily captured in a structured way. And now, with the tools that we have, we can capture, that expertise, that they have, and really bring that to bear, for our customers when they're trying to figure out, hey, I need to, just throw the party, what kind of appetizer should I have, what sort of things that's expertise that's now going to be at our customers, fingertips, as an example. So.
I'm looking forward to the Agentic charcuterie board, frankly. So we just have a few minutes left. And I thought it would be a good time to just ask you, you've obviously, we're going through this pretty quickly at a high level, but you've seen a lot of change. You've probably had some struggles and challenges that you can't talk about and some struggles and challenges that maybe you can talk about that you've learned from. What advice do you have for folks as they are sort of embarking on the next, 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, it always comes back to basics, whether it's, the change with the internet. For me, the most recent one was with mobile. Really just take a step back and first understand what problems do you really need to solve, for your customers, in our case for our associates, and where is there friction? Where is there manual work that you can now start to think differently about how it is that you automate those things? That is just going to open up a world of many different ideas and things that you didn't think or know were possible, and down to the level of the individual. And I do this for myself. I'm a developer at heart, and with these new tools, I'm not going to use the word, but I look at my job and I'm creating my own agents and things to automate that work. But it comes down to the problems that I have and where it is that I have friction. I'd say the other thing from an enterprise perspective. The other way to look at this is we are moving. The change that we're seeing today is very similar to what we've seen when we went from monoliths to distributed systems. We don't want to repeat those mistakes. So how do you take a step back and take a look at the foundational capabilities that you already have, the services and platforms that you've already built, and really then think about, okay, what does it mean for those services and platforms to operate in an agentic world? So how do you decompose, your domains? What MCP servers should you have? What sort of agent orchestration should you have? What is the experience? We're going to be looking at a very different type of experience where customers are expecting us to anticipate what it is that they need. So how are you thinking end to end about really reinventing the experience for our customers, and then using the capabilities that you have as the foundational building blocks, and then building on top of and enabling those things to be surfaced in an agentic way. So,
yeah, it feels like, and I don't know the extent to which you've been working on this, but it feels like the signals that you use to evaluate are going to change too. In other words, the methods that you use to figure out what is working and what isn't working, that's a whole other world of sort of, future analytics.
Yeah, and I think in an agentic world, and we're starting to work through this, and it's going to change, but it's going to be, the metrics around conversion and things like that those are not going to change, but we're going to be looking at, goal completion, things like that. What does that mean? How do you measure that? Did we actually, achieve, the ultimate goal that, that our associate, that our customers are actually solving? And so that's going to be a new way to really look at how is it that we're delivering. At the end of the day, it's a measure of, are we delivering the benefit? Are we delivering, the value, that we expect? And then working back from there to basically figure out the right metrics. And I think, for us, at the end of the day, it's our customers are trying to solve a problem for themselves. Same thing for our associates. Did we actually solve that problem with these new tools? And so that's what we mean by, was the goal actually met for our customers and associates? So.
Great. Well, Desi, thank you so much. Please give Desi a warm round of applause. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.